left the fucking messages where I said I wanted to fuck.
You literally did.
No, I did not.
Good?
You told me that we were going on a podcast for your show on OnlyFans.
Wait. This is fucking dumb.
I got all the receipts in my phone. I can dead ass pull that shit out.
And she's a porta potty.
No, I'm not a porta potty. Tell me what nigga shitted on me.
Shut up.
Tell me what nigga should know, because it's the truth.
You want people to know. You are wanting to let somebody know I tried to fuck you. This is
stupid. Because I didn't fuck him on OnlyFans. I didn't want to fuck him.
Is your weave that tight today, man?
I get money in
is the
real
glue
life.
fucking with you?
Niggas pay me. Do you hear me?
This bitch is drunk and acting stupid.
I'm not drunk. I'm dead ass not drunk.
You dead ass drunk and stupid.
I promise to God.
That weave too tight. You need a different kind of glue.
God knows I'm not drunk right now.
Dumb son of a bitch. Just up here just being ignorant for no reason.
No. He not finna try to play me.
Who's playing you, stupid bitch?
No, bitch, you fucking stupid.
Nobody's playing you.
Homes deserve beautiful furniture. Just ask this, Bob. Vanilla Ice.
Oh, the fusion.
Okay. We don't need to look at commercials. Let me give my final commentary on this. This is Shay Means. These are images I pulled right off her Instagram. It's public, by the way. All right. Let's get a closer look at this. The same hair-hatted hooligans that he talks about, he allowed to get him bent out of shape like that. All right. We know about what took place right after that. There was a physical altercation where she struck him. All right. You can say what you want to say. I mean, this is a female that's over at Dubai, and we know what the hell takes place over at Dubai. And just to give you a little bit of insight on what I've seen about Shay Means, this is a female. The mispronunciation of words is not the only thing that you can easily pick up on. This is the female who, claims that she gets money. But in her live streams, you can hear the batteries of a smoke detector that need to be replaced. You keep hearing it in the background. On 2 separate live streams, I've noticed this. Even to the point where one of her own, somebody who called in mentioned it. Sounds like your smoke detector needs new batteries. She doesn't pick up on this. But you have all this money, though. This is a female who cannot even pronounce words properly, like vagina, ignorant, whatever the fuck that means, and just a bunch of other shit that she does. This is who Tommy Sotomayor, why the hell did he do that? Decide to take him for a fucking ride. There was absolutely nothing for him to gain out of this. There was, and listen, I don't even care about the exchange they had with him flying her out to his house or whatever the case may be. It is hypocritical, however, that these are the very same groups of females that you talk about, but yet you're trying to sleep with them. You can put 2 and 2 with that together. I can care less. I'm not here to talk about anything else that's going on since that live stream, because there's too much going on. I understand there's a lawsuit involved. Cops have been called. Charges have been pressed. It is what it is. But understand that this is who Tommy Sotomayor allowed to take him for a ride. Take it for a spin, like somebody test driving a brand new vehicle at a damn car dealership. A female with this mindset. And we've seen as the confrontation ensued, that as someone came to break it up, and this is also something else that just speaks volumes, which really it doesn't look good on black women, because here you had a man who got in between the two of them, tried to make space. And as this man attempted to make space, here you have this female being the aggressor. That's what that was. She struck him. Now, she tried to say, oh, he pushed the guy into me. That's not what happened. If you look at that footage carefully, he did not push that guy into it. It seemed like he tried to slightly brush him away from him. But she tried to say that was the reason why she struck Tommy Sotomayor. I'm no fan of the guy. You know, I don't like the guy. I don't fuck with him on any level, but I'm just calling this right down the goddamn middle. And even after this dude was literally attempting to pull her back. She still is trying to bridge a gap so she can pursue her attack. This is what took place. This is a female attempting to pick a fight with a man. Black women, and to those of y'all that get online and say that, oh, it's black men is the reason why your image is the way it is. No. When people say that you're masculine or whatever the case may be, just understand this. Listen, I'm not here to confirm that or deny that statement. But what I will say is this right here breathes fresh life into ancient stereotypes about black women. You want that to not be a stereotype or a stigma that's around your neck? Then y'all got to get that shit under control. Because when you out here trying to fight a grown-ass fucking man, that's a serious problem. Now, listen, like I said, I'm calling this right down the middle. Tommy Sotomayor is a man who's in his mid-40s. She's a female that's in her mid-20s, 25 years old. And this is who Tommy Sotomayor allowed to take him to heights where that should have never happened. Like I said, the first 2 minutes of that discussion, I would have completely shut that shit down. She would have been talking by herself because I'm not going to entertain you. Because I realize there's nothing there to debate. This is what you brothers have to quickly be able to analyze. And we seen as the fight ensued that her dress came up and she had nothing on underneath it. Now, was that just random? Or maybe is this by design? Is this by coincidence? What do you think? Let's just zoom in really fast. What are you seeing over here? Does that look like pantyhose? Does that look like something that matches her skin tone? Let's go to the next one. Sure looks like she ain't got no drawers on underneath that to me. What do you say about this? This is supposed to be the female that you allow to get you bent out of shape? What do you see? A female that goes into random locations around random people with skimpy dresses on and no drawers on. This is what we're dealing with. What are we supposed to make out of this? I mean, this is who you're allowing to get you bent out of shape. This right here. A weave wearing, tatted up, 500 pounds of war paint, caked up makeup. This is who Tommy Sotomayor allowed to get him bent out of shape. And like I told you, I told you where she was going to segue into. She was looking for a reason to bring up those text messages, looking for a reason to say, oh, you was trying to sleep with me. Listen, that was a conversation that should have been had over a phone call, not over a damn podcast, which had nothing to do with that. So you really got the question, where was this? I mean, what the hell really was taking place with this one? And according to what she's stating, he was trying to fuck her, whatever the case may be, which I can really give a damn less. But she says she had no intentions on sleeping with him. She just, she was willing to do a OnlyFans podcast with him. An OnlyFans interview. Now, boy, this is a female who is an OnlyFans model who puts inanimate object inside of her body for cash, for money. This is what she does. She stated that somebody's willing to drop 5 bands, that she's willing to sleep with them. That she's said this several times. This is prostitution. But then gets on her YouTube page and says, I'm not a prostitute. What do you make out of this? Then how are you able to afford trips to go to Dubai and do all this other stupid shit? And this is how you know when you're dealing with some goofy ass individuals. Well, the first chance y'all get, y'all running your ass over to goddamn Dubai. That's a typical fucking thing that a lot of you Negroes do. Oh, I'm making it big. Look at me. I'm living a lavish life. Fly my ass out there to Dubai. And most of us knows exactly what goes on when you go over there to Dubai. Most of y'all can't afford a plane ticket over there, let alone to stay over there. So I know you ain't paid for your own shit to get out there on your own cash. You ain't done that shit. I mean, my God, if you can't even afford a goddamn battery for your smoke detector, I'm supposed to believe you can afford to go take your... I mean, come on, stop. But once again, this is who Sotomayor let getting bent out of shape. I don't know why the hell this thing keeps doing this whenever I hit the screen. This is who he let getting bent out of shape. And then for her to sit there and act as if she didn't know what was going on, being an OnlyFans model yourself, and when somebody's telling you, I want you to do a podcast with me, an interview on OnlyFans, you mean to tell me you don't know exactly what that means? See, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all want to play fucking stupid. A lot of y'all want to... Boy. Like I said, let me just say this much, because I can't keep going on too much longer with this. There was absolutely nothing for Tommy to gain out of this. Nothing. The only one who has something to gain out of this, who might be who you're looking at right now. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I personally think about her or what I would like to do. Let me just calm down. Y'all already know. And the only reason why I say she might have had something to gain out of this is it might attract more simp-ass Negroes to her OnlyFans. Tommy had nothing to gain out of this. This was not a good look on this. Now, some of you dating coaches went out here and said this is a brilliant strategy by Tommy. No, it is not. This is the exact same shit that has led to his credibility going down the goddamn toilet. It's him getting involved in stupid situations like this in which he should have never been involved with in the first place. Just that fucking simple. He's built a name for himself regardless of what anybody thinks of him. But due to him not being able to control his emotions, due to him not being able to quickly understand and use proper judgment when you're in a situation where logic and reasoning simply is not going to work, due to him not having control over any of this, this is how he ends up allowing somebody like this to get him bent out of shape. Now, she might have had a little something to gain out of this because she's gained some traction to her YouTube page ever since this has happened. But here's what I'm going to say behind this. This incident might have led to more people going to her YouTube page to see what she's talking about. But I guarantee you, she's not going to be able to keep an audience. Not making vlog videos talking about things that she likes. No. Because this actually requires you to have a level of talent. This actually requires you to have a level of intellect. You'll get people to come initially, but once this whole beef dies down and everybody forgets about this, that's it. People won't be subscribing to that. People aren't going to listen to it. You might get an audience briefly, but when they realize you have nothing to talk about, that's going to be it. The only chance that she might actually have is bringing it to her OnlyFans. Okay, now that I got you over here, why don't you come join me over here on our OnlyFans? But as I told y'all before I close this video out, Tommy had nothing to gain out of this. This was a complete waste of time. And furthermore, this just looks bad. It looks bad. He's too big of a name for him to be getting into scuffles with a nobody. And unfortunately, he has not learned over the years that there are just certain things certain battles you shouldn't even be caught up in. And as I've told y'all before, this is a textbook example. You have to quickly be able to look and analyze whether you're dealing with a situation where you can use and apply logic and reason, or whether this is a situation that you should completely walk away from, and I'll be damned. Because this is one of those situations where Tommy Sotomayor should have completely walked away. As I've told y'all, and as the title states in this video, never argue with a fool, because they will they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. I'm going to say that one more time. And this is a statement, a quote that I got from a black woman years ago. And she stated, never argue with a fool, because they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Now, with that being stated, that's all I got to say in this video. And I'll catch you on a later date. Yet again, and as usual, I am late to the party, as to be expected. Now, this is a production that had happened, or this is a podcast that happened a little over a week ago. And I'm going to conclude that anybody who has seen or who is watching this video right now knows the outcome of what took place on that podcast. And I'm talking about this physical confrontation that is taking place between Sotomayor, which is the guy in the center of the screen, and Shay, which is the young lady to the right of Tommy Sotomayor, would be to your left, looking at the screen. Now, this happened a little over a week ago. And I didn't get a chance to make a video about it. Or I wanted to do something make a video at that time, but I decided to actually wait, and I'm actually glad that I did. Because now I actually had the chance to sit down and watch this actual podcast, which I didn't get through the whole thing. I fell asleep during some of it, but I would say I got through at least 2/3 or a little bit more of this podcast. Now, what I'm going to showcase to you does not go all the way up to the physical confrontation that is taking place. But what I will state is this. A black woman made this statement to me back in 2013. I would say late spring of 2013. And that statement is exactly what you see on the title. Never argue with a fool, because they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Now, this is going to be a valuable learning lesson that I want everybody to pay attention to, especially black men. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some of this right now, and I'm going to interrupt as I need to object or add in my critique. So let's get right into this.
And why is it a problem for a man to buy the food in the first place, like for a first date? Like, why, if you guys want to be masculine?
Yeah, we never said it was a problem.
They just being cheap.
No, we never said it's a problem. We just said
You should just fuck us.
Where can I find you?
You can find me. Yeah, it'll be hard.
I need one of them books just before I go.
Yeah, just Google me, and when you get past the mug shots and stuff,
The mugshot.
you get to me. Like, I can't keep a Instagram or Twitter or anything because they flag it. Like, I get flagged all the time, so it's just, I'm like, where's
It's
the
because you.
I actually got a question for you, Tommy, and I'm really not trying to offend you.
If you start off saying that, you are.
I hope that you really don't feel my type of way.
I don't feel like that's what I was trying to tell her. Like, I was going to say that. That was going to be my closing. Anybody that knows me knows I like a conversation for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
At the end of the conversation, I'm like, I was in debate club. When you get through with it, you shake hands. When you get through playing basketball, you don't get mad because you won or you lost. It's a part of the competition.
Okay.
We are supposed to be here to entertain, enlighten, and educate a little bit.
Okay.
And so when I was talking to her, I was just trying, and the same with you or anybody else, I challenged them.
Yeah.
You should want to be challenged if you're having a discussion. Why is it that we can...
Okay, briefly, I want people to pay attention. Let me just say this much. I want black men to be able to pick up on signs or when something is just going to take a turn for the worst. Now, had I been watching this for the first time and I decided to leave it here and step out, run to the store real fast, grab a bite to eat, run to the car really quickly, and step back into come back home, I would have had no clue that within about 5 to maybe 7 to 10 minutes later, that this entire exchange would have went far left. But what I want people to pay attention to right now, just look at her body language. Look at her facial expressions. Look at how she keeps sucking her teeth, making the sound effects. Notice how she has kind of like this sarcastic look in her face. But let's keep going.
talk to people who agree with us.
Facts.
Facts.
That's what's
Shouldn't
making
be.
America
So
like
can I ask
salt.
that question?
Yeah.
That was the question.
No, it wasn't. So I don't know if you seen. I unfollowed you.
Oh shit!
The
You gonna
only
refollow me?
I will, but only if it's convenient for me to follow you. So can you turn that shit off now?
No.
All right. I wanted to pause it there specifically. And I want you to, or what I want to ask you is, what's wrong with this picture? Does anybody know why specifically I paused it here? And I'm going to give you go down a little journey. But listen to what she just stated as she's asking her question. She apparently doesn't like the fact that this guy, Myron, or AKA known as Fit, is playing the sound effects in the background, which I can see why that would become annoying. But look at how she asked him. Didn't even ask him. Told him, can you turn that shit off, nigga? This is what she stated. Not asking, hey, can you please lower that down? Or hey, can you turn it off so we can finish having this discussion? No, just says it in an abrasive, abrupt, and offensive way. Now, what I want people to notice is how she's on someone else's podcast, sitting in somebody else's chair, in somebody else's studio, thinking that it is okay for her to speak and to just say whatever it is that she wants to. And that is deeply disturbing to me because I can relate far too often to this experience. To where you have, what we have right here is a black female who thinks she can show up in somebody else's environment and do and say whatever she wants to. Now, my experiences with things similar to this goes back all the way to my teenage years. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. But what we're sitting back and what we're listening to, and this is also another reason why I'm glad I decided to sit down and go through a nice chunk of this live stream before I gave my perspective on this, was earlier on in the live stream, they were having a discussion. Somehow they got into human trafficking. How the conversation got there, I really can't even remember, but it did. And they were talking about how this is one of the biggest crimes in the world, and it's a really big issue. Now, Fit, also known as Myron, the guy right here, the back of his head that we're looking at, stated that the numbers are overly inflated. And that it's not what it is that they're trying to make it seem. Their numbers are overly inflated, and how he's basing this is off of his experience, because he actually has experience in the actual industry. So he's telling you based off of things he's actually seen with his own two eyes. Now, of course, the women disagreed, and that's not even the point whether they agreed or disagreed. But this one individual, right over here, Shay Means, felt the need to go on a tangent, started babbling, rambling, just sounding completely ridiculous. Oh, the government lies to us. They lie about every goddamn thing. And listen, if that's how you feel, you are more than entitled to feeling that way. But it's the way you carry yourself. But you can see as she's literally rambling on, not making a damn bit of damn sense. The camera pretty much scrolls past the other individuals and gets a close-up look at their faces and everybody. You can listen. A picture, I get the meaning now of a picture is worth 1,000 words. It makes perfect sense. And she's still continuing to ramble on to the point where, what's this guy? Myron tries to interject and state or bring out some information to where she cuts him off. Now, one of the producers have to tell her, listen, please don't cut off the host. And instead of her respecting that, saying, you know what, my mistake, sometimes I might get a little carried away. No, what she does now is she proceeds to go back and forth with the producer, pretty much letting him know that, listen, I'm on some bullshit today. That's just what it's going to be. Thinking that she can go into somebody else's environment and do whatever she would like to do. She can show up to someone else's territory, conducting herself any way she feels fit. Rules that are applicable to everybody now can suddenly and somehow be broken at her convenience. I want y'all to pay attention to this. And once again, like I said, this is an experience I can relate to far too often because I've had similar experiences like this dealing with black women. And like I stated, this goes all the way back to my teenage years. And when I was a teenager, there was a group of friends that I would hang out with, typically after school and on the weekends. Now, I had been to every last one of their houses, and I'm a firm believer, this has always been my motto. If I show up to your house, if I'm in your house, if I'm in your car, if I'm in an environment that you control, I'm not going to disrespect. Well, first of all, I don't go about disrespecting people, period, unless you give me a reason to. But I'm not going to disrespect you. That's my core values. I follow the rules, and if there's some reason why I can't follow the rules, I'll either ask for a suitable accommodation, or if I feel this rule just doesn't make any sense, I won't put myself in that environment. Just won't do it. I'll leave. If I feel you are someone who is not worthy of my respect, guess what? I will not put myself in your environment to where I would feel that I would need to disrespect you. I'm just not going to do it. I won't even be there. That's the way a logical, rational thinking person conducts himself. Now, like I said, this has always been my motto since I was a teenager. So any one of their places that I would go to, there was never any disrespect. That's just not the way I operate. So we had all been to each other's houses before. And at one point, I decided to bring the few who hadn't been to my place a chance to be able to come over to my place. And when I brought them there, I let it be known, and one was a black female, by the way, a black girl. And when I brought them over to my place, I let it be known that there are a certain set of rules that have to be adhered to while you're here. So please follow them. Many of those rules which were broken. Now, mind you, the rules had been stated before they even showed up at my place. And even as they were being broken, it was being reminded, listen, you got to follow the rules. And it's not that, okay, well, the rules were being broken and I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know, please work with me. No. The response that I got when I let it be clear that, listen, you're not following the rules specifically out of this black girl was that of a shrugging of the shoulders. Oh, well, sucks to be you. That's a you problem, not me. That's the response that I got. And from that point on, she never was allowed to come to my place again. I made that perfectly clear. Listen, anyone else can show up over here. You're not allowed to come back to my place. Because if you're going to conduct yourself like that, that's just something I'm not going to go for. When I tell you what the rules are, you need to follow the goddamn rules. That's just one example that goes back to more than 20 years ago. I can give you a few other examples involving rideshare. Okay? Some of y'all might have seen or know the type of vehicle, the automobile that I drive. You might have seen it briefly in a video. And there are two rules that have to be followed when you're in my car. Others I might make an exception to, but two, there are no exceptions to this rule. Rule number one, do not disrespect me under any circumstances when you're in my automobile. That goes for my automobile and my home, or any space that I control and operate. Do not disrespect me. Number two, in my car, there is no eating or drinking allowed in my car. Now, the reason why I mentioned the car, y'all might have seen it. I'm just going to say this much. It's a decent car. I drive a fairly decent car. I drive a reliable car. The interior is all leather. And I'm saying this not so I can brag and tell, ooh, wow, look at what I got. No. This makes me a high value man all of a sudden. No, that's not the reason why I mentioned this. I mentioned this because I want people to understand when you have something that of value, you want it to be respected. So as I'm doing rideshare, like I said, rules are don't disrespect me. The minute you disrespect me, I don't give a fuck what it is or where we're at. That ride is over. You getting the fuck out right then and there. And rule number two, there's no eating or drinking allowed in my car. That's simple. Now, I've had, and it's not to say that people haven't attempted to do so. But when I remind them of the rules, they follow the rules. It is only, let me just give you some examples. I've come across white women who would attempt to get in my car with an open beverage, and I'll tell them, listen, miss, you can't drink that in here. And they immediately respect it. Okay, sorry about that. Can I either finish it outside or I'll just get rid of it altogether? And no big deal. I've had Hispanic men get into my car and attempt to bring food and drinks. And I tell them, listen, you can't have that in here. And they respect the rules. Hell, even black men, in certain cases, they don't like it. But when I tell them, listen, you can't eat food in this car, they put the shit down. They respect the rules. It is only when I've encountered black females, and I say that loosely about the ones that I'm talking about in particularly, not black women in general. But it is only when I've encountered black females who would get in my car that they would literally attempt to argue my own rule in my vehicle in an environment that is either an extension of my home or my office or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it's mine. It's not yours. And when I tell them, listen, you have to follow the rules, it becomes an argument. So one night, this had to be, going on 2-3 o'clock in the morning on a weeknight. There's no public transportation available because it stops running after certain hours. And I'm almost certain that there is a shortage of rideshare drivers who are out here. So I get requested, I show up to the location, and there's a black female that's coming out of a bar or whatever the case may be, a lounge or whatever. And I see her with a drink. There's no lid on it, and she attempts to open the door. I don't unlock the door. I roll my window down and I say, miss, you can't have a drink in the car. Now, if you want, I can wait for you out and you can finish it outside and then you can get in when you're done. She immediately asks, why can't I have my drink? I said, miss, these are my rules. But why? I said, miss, if you make a mess in my car, you could ruin my whole night for whether I can actually be able to go out and make money if I can't get this shit cleaned up. So no, but I'm not going to make a mess. It's not alcohol. It's just juice. Miss, doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what's inside of the cup. You cannot have the drink in my car. But why? Miss, my car, my rules, there's no exception to that. So you can either decide to finish that outside and I'll wait for you. I don't got a problem with that. Or you can decide to get rid of the drink and then get into the car and I'll take you home. Or you can decide to cancel the request and request another driver or get another rideshare. I don't give a damn what you do, but you're not getting in my car with an open beverage. It's not happening. It got to the point where, because it was really her auntie that made the rideshare request, and she now shows up. And she's asking what seems to be the problem. I said that she cannot get in this automobile with an open beverage. It's not happening. But why not? She's not going to make a mess. I said, no, but I'll pay for it. No, miss. Listen, there's no exception to that rule. If she wants to go home, she can either drink or finish her drink or get rid of it and then get in the car. If not, I'm canceling the goddamn ride. Now, I didn't say it to her like that, but I just made it clear there's no exception to this rule. Now, the two of them are sitting here trying to negotiate my rule inside of my automobile. Now, mind you now, her niece needs to get a ride home after hours. There's no public transportation outside. Hell, you might not be so lucky when it comes down to getting another rideshare. So you would figure the priority and the objective would to be to get home safely. But no, it was more important for her to worry about having her drink than it was for her to get home safely. Now, mind you, you might be stranded out here for the rest of the goddamn night. The end of the damn day, I don't give a shit how you get home. I know how I'm getting home. You requested a ride. Either you can decide to get in or you can just stay out here and have your drink. But I want you to understand what they prioritize. She wanted to prioritize a goddamn cranberry juice. A juice that you could get for $1.50 at the goddamn store. That was a priority to her rather than getting in a car and getting back to her destination safely, getting home safely. Which eventually she decided to either toss a drink or finish it and then get in the goddamn car. But I'm just bringing up the fact that this is the experiences that I've gone through dealing with black women. It is only black women that I've encountered this with. Like I said, I will tell this to anybody else. Listen, sir, ma'am, you can't have the drink. Okay, sorry about that. I apologize. End of discussion. That's it. Another example, because this has happened on more times than what I'd like to recall. And I'm not even giving y'all all the times this is actually. I'm just going to run down 2. I pick up this female, and I'm taking her to work. She wants to go to her job, whatever. Fine, no big deal. Before she gets to work, she wants to stop at the store, get herself a bite to eat. I don't care as long as it's inside of a bag. As long as you're not eating it in my car, we're good. She comes out of the store, opens the door, and I see her getting in the car, and she has, I don't know whether this was an espresso, a cappuccino, or whatever, but there was no lid on the damn thing. I already see the shit spilling on my seats, and I tell her, ma'am, you can't have it in this car. And once again, instead of respecting the rules, instead of saying, okay, sorry about that, can you give me a second to just finish this? No. Immediately, it's why not? Miss, you've already spilled this in my car. I told y'all, leather seats. And when you take good care of your shit, this is expensive. So when somebody gets in the car, in your automobile, and disregards your rules and thinks that you can bend the rules to accommodate them wanting to have a goddamn drink or have a fucking meal. I mean, that right there, that pisses me off to no end. So I tell them, ma'am, there's no negotiating this rule. There's no exception to this rule. If you want, I can wait for you because I'm still getting paid regardless. And you can finish your drink. But you're not about to sit in my car with that drink. It's just not happening. So what do you want to do? So she goes out and finishes the drink and then gets back in the car. Now I want you to know what she did afterward. As I'm taking her to her job, she decides to start playing music on her cell phone. Blasting the music. Now, no other time she was doing this beforehand. The only reason why she had done this, because she was pissed off that she could not get in my automobile inside of a setting in an environment that is mine and that I control. The fact that I would not let her get into my environment and do whatever the fuck she wanted to do, she figured then I can go ahead and just find some other way to annoy him. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the damn music as loud as I can because I just want to piss him off. Brothers, I want y'all to understand something. This is what you call a classic example of psychological warfare. These are mind games that are being played. And as this happened, immediately I said, Miss, can you please lower down the music? Got no response. Ma'am, please lower down the music. Well, I lowered it down. You ain't got to catch it. I said, man, get out of my car right now. Ride is done. Get the hell out. Now. Get out. Ride was over. That's it. And oh, by the way, I put in the complaint and made her pay to get those seats cleaned up, by the way. I wasn't playing that shit. Oh, she was not happy with that. She was pissed off. But see, I want y'all to understand the mindset of what you're dealing with. What the hell was that? All right. Forget about it. But you have black women that figure that if they can't control or break rules or do whatever they want to in your environment, therefore, I'm going to find some other way to piss you off because I have to get the last word in an environment that is not mine, in an environment that I do not control. This is what they attempt to do. And oh, by the way, when that was all said and done, and after I put in that complaint with the rideshare company, they charged her a fee for it, but then what she tried to do was put in a frivolous complaint to try to counter it. I said, no, this is all bullshit. And when I put forth all the details of who it was, they dismissed it. But this is literally what we were dealing with. So once again, I want y'all to understand, and the reason why I take y'all down this journey, because I want y'all to notice once again what this Shay means individual. You're on somebody else's podcast. You don't control anything. You don't run anything. You're a fucking guest. And you come in here and you start running your goddamn mouth trying to be a shot caller when you have no authority. And you literally are expecting rules and an accommodation to be made for you. And you don't even have the decency to ask nicely. But let's continue.
They can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so
They can hear
I
you.
unfollowed you because every time I go on my Instagram, I see you downplaying black women. As in to the point where I don't see no other race, but you always posting something about a black woman did this or what they're doing. And I'm like, nigga, you black yourself. What are you doing? So I got tired of seeing it. And I want to just say the one that got to me, the one that made me unfollow you, was the one with the lady that had the wig or something like that. And I guess you know which one I'm talking about.
I don't, because I talk about ladies in wigs a lot. So I was like, what?
Exactly, and they're all black. So it's just like,
I want you to pay attention to the condescending mannerism that she's given as he's trying to, give her an answer. Just notice how her responses, how these are responses that would trigger. It would rub people the wrong way. But let's keep going.
it's just like I was cool, I was really cool, everything, but
What was it on there that bothered you? What was it about that post?
it was specifically you were saying something about I guess she was playing you or something. Somebody that reported your page. I don't really know. I unfollowed you about a week ago, so I really don't remember. It was around my dad's death, but I didn't want to see it on my TL because I'm like, damn, Tommy, like I thought you was better than that.
Better than what? Well, okay. I explain it to people like this. One, I don't understand why black women get to tell a black man because you're black, you can't talk about this group.
You can.
Well, hold on. If you go to ESPN, you're going to get sports. You're not going to get politics, you're going to get sports. So when people come to me, they're going to hear me talk about what I think is the problem.
Okay.
I think we have a lot of issues, and I think they are starting with the idea of our women. So I will speak on that. Now, you can go to another guy and hear him young Pharaoh tell you about how black women are God and then cheat on y'all and beat you. You can go hear that if you want. But I think it's odd that you're willing to listen to somebody tell you how great you are and you kings and queens and how you're the most beautiful thing on the earth, but you're not listening to somebody say the other side. It's the same thing I was saying on the discussion. Why not hear more than one side? So you can go to somebody else and hear them tell you all the things that make you feel good. But if you come to me, I'm going to tell you the opposite, because why do you need to hear that? And the last thing is, I grew up in a family, and most of us grew up around black folks. If you grew up with a black mom, a black grandmama, or a black aunt, it's funny how we listen to those who supposedly love us, talk to us and say, sit your black ass down, don't do this, slap you when you get... You can listen to your mama who had you talk to that way, but not a guy who you don't know, who you could simply unfollow. That lets me know a lot of people are soft. I can follow someone and I will argue, not you're black, so you can't talk about blacks. I'll say, does what you say have merit? I don't care if a white person's talking about blacks. Because here's what's funny. You don't want a black man to talk about black women. But if a white woman did it, would you listen to that? Nope. You say she was racist. If anybody else did, so who can talk about it?
So my problem, I ain't gonna say problem. My whole debate is why you only target black? Like, I'm pretty sure white people get on you too. Dominican people get on you too.
All right. So I just want to point out the fact that he already answered the question. Okay? What I want brothers to understand is to quickly be able to pick up on stuff like this. Know when you're dealing with somebody that you can have a rational discussion with versus someone that you need to just... Okay, I wasn't charging. Somebody that you need to just quickly disengage yourself from. And this is one of those examples where Tommy should have quickly disengaged himself from. He gave her the answer on multiple occasions, but what you're going to notice is that this is going to become redundant because all she's going to keep doing is asking the same questions over and over and over again. At some point, you can't keep playing this game and going down this road. Once you answer a question, you can't keep going down the same road. Oh, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Also, what I want people to pay attention to is there are going to be certain keywords that she was going to use to trigger Tommy Sotomayor. But let's keep watching.
Why you don't say something about them?
When I say
come
white
on
women,
now, I know every race get on your ass. You're Tommy.
When I say white women got flat, I did a whole song about white women and they flat ass.
We ain't talking about those songs. We talking about your post.
Right. So she sat there and asked him why he only talks about black women and how come he doesn't talk about nobody else. And when he gave her examples on how he talks about how he was made a song about white women and flat asses, Notice how she immediately deflected. She immediately deviated away, pivoted away from it. Didn't even want to touch it. The minute she got there, well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about your. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I want people to understand, know who and what you're dealing with. So where Tommy went wrong here is he is attempting to use logic and reasoning with someone who either cannot comprehend logic and reasoning or simply does not want to. Let's keep going.
Maybe
When I say something about white people, they eat it.
yeah, because he's black.
They eat it. I can get up in front of a comedy set, and I've done it several times, made fun of the white people in the audience. They eat it. They're not sitting around wearing their emotions on their shoulders, and white men don't go around talking about some call me king because we created the earth. There's only one group of people who keep giving themselves false praise. You want to get mad that somebody's talking about somebody wearing a wig.
But we should have every right to feel that we
You can, and I have every right to say what I, but listen what you just said. I don't go to other
you should know
people's
our
stuff.
background.
No, but yes, so if I would speak on it,
So we
because
should have every right to feel that way.
Talking. No,
I speak on it.
Okay, I told y'all about this earlier. I told y'all about this. This is the second time, at least from what I can remember. And like I told you, I fell asleep during a nice chunk of this. But this is the second time, at least from my recollection, that one of the producers had to tell us, Shay, do not cut him off as he's talking. The first time it was the host. Don't interrupt the host. Now it's Tommy Sotomayor. So just understand what we're dealing with. This is, at this point in time, she knows she doesn't have a legitimate talking point. She knows she has nothing logical to respond back with. She knows the question that she already asked has been answered several times by now. At this point in time, this is not a matter, and it wouldn't, listen, I would go on a limb and say that this was a premeditated plot to get Tommy Sotomayor bent out of shape. And as I've told y'all, a black woman told me this years ago, never argue with a fool because they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. And I'll be damned if this isn't exactly what happened. But let's keep going.
Because I know the background. So if you can go on your stuff and talk about how great you are, and I don't go on there and tell you you can't, why would you follow me, see what I say, then come tell me what I can't say when you said you can say what you want?
That's true, though.
I always say this. Black women love to say how strong they are. If you're really strong, other people's opinion shouldn't bother you that much.
It don't bother you.
You're the most
But why would you want to talk about your own race?
They're not. Listen, see what you're saying? Why would you want to talk about your own race? But if I sit there and said how great they were, you wouldn't say, why would you want to talk about your own race?
Exactly,
So all
I
I can
wouldn't.
do is big
I
up a
wouldn't.
group of people?
I wouldn't.
So all I can do is big up a group of people? You got to go to somebody else. Go to another dude who talk and big you up. I won't, because it's not my job. You live in America, but you can talk bad about America. They don't kick you out. Just miss the logic. Completely miss the logic.
Just missed the logic, exactly. Because you are attempting to use logic and reasoning in a situation where the only logical thing that could have been done in this scenario would have been for Tommy Sotomayor to disengage. And he didn't. Listen, I came back and I've said this time and time again. When I had that debate back in 2015 with Crystal and Carrison, yeah, that was a losing debate. The reason for it is because I'm attempting to use logic and reasoning with somebody who refuses to use logic and reasoning. And here we have it all over again, where Tommy Sotomayor is face to face with the epitome of someone who's completely illogical. But let's continue.
What he's saying is that no one is above criticism. Regardless of where the criticism comes from, if it's a valid critique, a fact is a fact that does not change based on who's necessarily said.
They never argue what I say. It's just I'm black and I can't say it, which is a childish argument.
You can say
a
whatever.
midget can't talk about midgets because he's small. A fat girl can't talk about fat girls because she's fat.
That's a good comparison.
Then it gets silly. And like I said, when I brought up they're American, they were born in America, but sat right here and dissed the American government and said, all they do is lie. So you can but you're American.
Okay. And my point is, why every time I get on Instagram, you're the only person that's saying the same thing about black women, though?
As I told you, this is redundant. And the reason being for this is because he already answered the question several times already. Several times. And the way I would have done it had I been Tommy Sotomayor or been in his position. But once I've given you the answer more than 2 times and I realize you're still asking me the same stupid shit, listen. You asked me a question and I've already given you several answers. Okay? So therefore, I will not continue to engage this discussion. I'm done with it. I'm moving on. Now, you can sit here and have this discussion by yourself. You'll be talking to yourself. I'm not, you can have it with anybody else. I'm not going to have it with you. Because I've already answered your question several times. So therefore, I'm done with it. And that's all he should have done. And once he done that, it would have been a matter of just don't say anything else to her. Because at this point in time, like I told you, she knows she does not have a legitimate talking point. This is not a matter of using logic and reasoning. She knows at this point in time, she sounds flat out fucking stupid. It just does. It does. Yeah. But why is it every time I look at my Instagram, you're talking about a black woman? But why is it, again, you talk about black women? Okay, you got an answer. But why is it yours? Okay, I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing else to discuss here. And this is what you brothers need to be able to quickly decipher and know when to simply walk the fuck away. I've stated it time and time again. Don't argue with women. You know when it comes down to having a logical debate and who you can do this with. But in this case, Tommy should have known when he needed to leave. And listen, there were several last calls for boarding that train. And Tommy Sotomayor did not get his ticket and get on board that fucking train. But let's continue going.
Like, you're the only one. Like, they people say what they say about Fresh and Fit, but I don't see it every day on them. Every time I go on my Instagram, you're just specifically only targeting black women. And I didn't like that because I'm like, damn, it ain't that deep. You don't got to go that hard. So what, somebody said something about you, that don't mean you got to do a whole post about a black person. I'm pretty sure white people, Dominican people,
got a post about a white girl right
people,
there.
everything say about you.
Is he diminishing them or perfecting them? That's
He
the
literally
difference.
tagging the people.
Whoever
said that.
No, I'm not.
Okay, I ain't gonna say you're tagging.
See, that's
but
what I'm saying.
you're
Now you're just gonna keep saying
you're putting
things.
their picture on there.
So you get.
You are.
I'm looking at my.
You
I'm
are.
looking at my Instagram right now.
And I
my
unfollow.
own Instagram.
I
Do you
didn't
have-
follow.
Do you
I
have
don't follow.
white
But I'm
women?
looking at my Instagram
The
right
only
now
way
and
that I
scrolling
felt
my
some
Instagram.
way is because it's
Because
like
you
it's
saw what you
no
wanted
other
to
race
see.
you go so hard on but your own kind.
Because he cares.
Listen.
If he cared, he
If
wouldn't
it-
go so hard.
You don't
on
tell me how to do what I do. I got my psychology degree. You didn't. So if
Okay,
you want
but
to,
I did
I've helped
study
more
psychology,
I've
so I
helped
know
more
the
people than
difference.
you. I've had more people say I've
Of
changed
course,
their life and
you're
saved
30
their
something.
life.
I'm only 25,
actually
but I'm
40
very
something,
smart
but I
and
do
wise
it.
for my
the
age.
point is, do it your way. Don't tell me not to do it mine.
Of course. But I'm letting you know it
But
ain't,
I didn't
you
care.
can go a
But
whole
I
different
don't
way
care.
about it.
But I don't care. You do it. If you
Obviously.
know how to build a house better than me, you build it. Don't tell me to do it.
Okay, but I'm just
Damn.
letting you know if I'm only
But
time
there's
that
no
I see, if
reason
I'm
to.
going on my
I
Instagram.
Okay. I told you. This has become redundant. It's also rhetorical because he's also given the answer and she's saying the same thing. But that's not the only part where she's going to be redundant when it comes down to asking why is it all you do is talk about black women. There's something else she's going to be redundant on. There's a reason for it. Because at this point in time, she understands, as I've said this several times already, that she has no legitimate talking points. So the only thing she can look to do now is to entangle him in her bullshit. Now, when it comes down to females like this, and I know this from experience, this is not a matter of logic and reasoning. And I've encountered a situation like this years ago. What you'll encounter when you deal with females who think like this, and they know there's no other option, they can't disprove you on anything that you're saying. They don't have a legitimate talking point or anything that they can use to actually deconstruct what you're saying. Then what they look to do is to find a way to get you upset. And if it means asking the same question over and over again and to the point where you get upset, they'll keep doing it. If it means cutting you off and saying slick, sly-ass, sarcastic remarks as you're in the middle of making a statement, they'll keep doing that. And this is all for the sole purpose of trying to piss you off. Let me find what works. And when it works, that's when they're going to keep doing it. As a matter of fact, what she's doing is similar to a tactic that I used to use years ago. when it came down to many people having a problem with things that I stated. But I'll get into that a little bit later on. Let's keep going.
That's exactly why I unfollowed you, because I don't see nothing else but black people that you post on your page.
So
you don't talk about no other race.
I don't care. Anybody that wants to unfollow me, unfollow me now.
I will say this.
You can't unfollow my bank account. I'm still rich, so I don't care
It
what
don't
people
matter.
don't follow.
Money don't make nobody.
No, apparently it does if you do the shit you saying you do for it.
Money don't make nobody.
You gonna sit up there and talk bad about the thing that you talked up. Jesus, why wouldn't someone listen to you when you say, I understand you don't like watching it? Don't watch it.
That's why
I don't like gay porn.
nigga.
I don't go around looking for it.
I unfollowed you
I
2
don't
weeks
care.
ago.
Okay, that's
I don't care. Jesus Christ.
All right. Here's something else. I don't know if y'all noticed the trigger word yet, but Tommy's reaction, he's playing right into it. What I want you to notice is how she's trying to keep her voice in the same tone, in the same pitch. She's trying to remain consistent. And for a little while, she does a good job with this. Tommy, on the other hand, when she says a certain word, it starts, from this point on, you're going to notice that his tone is going to continue to keep going up. And that whole thing is, or what she's saying is, well, that's why I unfollowed. And every time she says, I unfollowed, he responds to it. He played right into that dumb shit. He didn't respond from a calm, collected, hey, I don't give a shit. Okay, I don't care. I unfollow. I don't care. I unfollow. I don't care. No, every time she says it, this is how it goes. I unfollow. I don't care. 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 But I unfollow. But I don't care. Do you see the pattern of what I'm showing you here? How each and every time Tommy responds back to that, his tone, the bass, the aggression in his voice just goes up. So at that point in time, she knows, okay, I figured it out. After being redundant with the asking him of questions, okay, that got him to a certain point. And maybe I couldn't trigger him any further with that. But I found something else that triggered him. And every time I say this, I get a response. And what she's going to attempt to do is to keep her voice in the same tone, in the same pitch, to try to make it seem as if, see, he lost his cool. I'm sitting here calm and collective. Why is he getting so upset? I'm only trying to have a conversation with you, Tommy. Why are you getting so upset? This is the tactic. And he's playing right into it. Because at this point in time, listen, in 2015, I got into a fallout with Tommy Sotomayor. He had a problem with some of the choice words that I used to describe him. Okay? And he let that be known in his response videos to me. Likewise, with many black people, y'all had a problem with some of the verbiage that I was using in videos from 2015 and further back. And one of the things that I told y'all at that time is one of the worst things you can tell somebody is that what they are doing is effective. Because when you're dealing with somebody who's deliberately looking to be an asshole, at that point in time, logic and reasoning, you're trying to use logic and reasoning. No, the only logic and reasoning that's there is the fact that I'm pissing you off. It's logical for me to keep using the same redundant tactic that gets a triggered reaction out of you each and every time. It is illogical for you to try to use logic and reasoning with me and you can't even figure out my damn tactic. You're trying to talk logic and make sense out of things when that's not what I'm here for. The only thing that I'm looking for is what's effective, and you have shown me that this is effective because you complain about it. And this is exactly what is taking place right here with Tommy Sotomayor and Shay Means. She knows the shit that she's doing is triggering him. It's pissing him off. Tommy had nothing to gain out of this. He had no reason to go back and forth with it. Like I said, the final boarding calls were coming in all aboard this train, and he was not boarding up with his ticket and getting the hell out of there. He was playing into this, and she dragged him into it like I told y'all before. But I want you brothers to understand something. Never argue with a fool, because they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. But let's continue.
I don't give a fuck.
Obviously, you do. No, you brought it up.
Obviously, you do because look at how hard you're getting mad.
Hey, you see what she stated, and she's saying it in a calm manner, in a calm tone, in the same pitch. Obviously, you care because look at how hard you're getting mad when I bring it up. Look at what she's doing. I told y'all this is what was going on. And she verified it for me, substantiated my talking point, and right then and there, if there was a final call to board that goddamn train, that was it. Tommy should have just disengaged right then and there. All right, can one of y'all give me another seat? Can I sit someplace else? Because I'm not going to have this discussion anymore. Like I said, at this point in time, she knew she looked stupid. And while looking stupid, the only thing she can do is try to get him to engage her in her stupidity. That is the only way she can redeem herself. But let's keep going.
Keep talking about it like I'm supposed to give a fuck. You unfollowed.
Obviously,
you had to announce it.
You know I don't give a fuck.
You had to announce it, sir.
Of course, I'm going to announce
Jesus
it.
Christ.
Because that was the question.
You sound insane.
No, you sound insane.
You're bothered by what I post. I don't give a
And
shit
I
what you
unfollowed
post.
because I didn't want to see it.
Let me just pause it one more time. Because I want y'all to understand what's getting ready to happen here. The whole purpose of her triggering him was a means for her to be able to segue into what she really wants to get into. Because she knows she can't beat him on the merits of why does he talk about black women. She got her answer. She had no comeback or no follow-up with that. So the thing is, this is why she kept repeating the same shit over and over again, because she plans on segueing into something that had nothing to do with the discussion. She was just looking for a reason to open up this can of worms. Let's keep going.
I don't give Jesus Christ. She don't understand.
I understand 100%.
All right. Let me just mediate real fast.
I understand. Trust me. I understand.
Shay. Simply put,
I understand.
I will tell you this because I still follow him on Instagram. He makes fun of everybody.
Let's pause it one more time. You see the way she's saying real calm. I understand. This is her trying to present. First of all, what she knows what she's doing is fucking annoying. Because somebody else is trying to talk now instead of you shutting the fuck up. You're still running your goddamn mouth. Okay. Secondly, the reason why she's saying this is because she wants to present herself as this calm, I'm cool, calm, and collected. And look at him, he's getting all upset. I understand why he's getting upset. Because I unfollowed him. This is the shade she's throwing at him, but let's keep going.
He don't.
He does.
He just pulled up a couple of posts.
Yeah, like, so whether he, I guess you can try to make an argument that he disproportionately insults black women more, makes jokes on them more, but he makes fun of everyone. This is kind of,
Sort of like 50 Cent.
the issue, like, if you don't like content, just don't watch it, and that's it. You know what I mean?
And I unfollowed. That's why I don't watch it, but I just wanted to address.
Pause it one more time. I want y'all to pay attention to. Every time she says she unfollowed, Tommy Sotomayor gives some type of reaction. This is why she's saying this, because she knows, okay, I found the trigger word. I'm getting some type of reaction out of him. Every time I say this, he responds. And it's in a negative way. That's all I need. I just keep bringing this up. But let's keep going.
Important. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know he would be here tonight. I always wanted to question him that. He texted my phone and asked me and check up on me just to make.
Did you hear that? He texted my phone to check up on me. What relevance did that have to do with the discussion at hand? None whatsoever. I told y'all what she's getting ready to segue into, but let's keep going.
That I'm good and I respect that, but I don't reply because I simply don't respect him more because it's just the fact that what he posts on the gram, and it's just like, what you texting me for, and you do all this to try to play black women like they just always ignorant or don't fucking know shit. Like you.
All right. Did you hear that? Ignorant. This is something that she is infamously known for, is fucking up words. The mispronunciation of words all the time. Ignorant. It's pronounced ignorant. But she says, oh God. Ignorant. Oh my God. Okay. But I'm highlighting that because this is who Tommy Sotomayor let take him to level 10.
Because he cares. Think about it. Listen to what she said.
If you care, you wouldn't downplay it. If you care, you wouldn't downplay it.
He's trying to benefit in your image, though.
Can we just have this debate, please? Nobody else.
But you're not.
Okay. Notice once again how she's on somebody else's panel in somebody else's environment, somebody else's settings where they control their climate, trying to regulate as if this was her studio. Once again.
Listening to me when I speak, you're telling me what I should be doing instead of asking me why I do it.
I asked you why.
And when I accept it, when I
asked you why, that was my first
even
question.
now when I'm saying, when I said, I asked you why. And when I asked you why. And when I asked you why.
And I asked you why. Continue.
Do you see what this is? And I asked you why. Continue. Do you see what she's doing? She is literally looking to trigger him. Tommy had too many opportunities to simply disengage, and he didn't. He didn't. Let's keep going.
All right, so Shay, simply put, he makes his content. You might not like how he disproportionately makes fun of black women, but yeah, you have the right to do that. I mean,
facts.
Yeah, so it's just a little, like it's like it's like if you don't like something, just don't watch it.
I don't. That's why I unfollowed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it,
so
but I didn't know he would be here to ask him that question.
Once again, did you see his reaction when she said she unfollowed? Every time she states that she unfollows, he gives some kind of a reaction. He played right into this shit. Let's keep going.
Today.
Okay, yeah, now
You get what I'm saying?
She wanted clarity. All right, well,
That's
no,
it.
she doesn't.
I think that
She wants to be able to control the person. Because
I don't
when you
wanna
want
control
clarity,
it. I just
when
wanna know
someone-
why.
If I wanted
That's
to know
it.
why a girl didn't want to date me, if she says it, that's the answer. Not to argue with this girl as she states it. You don't tell her what you should do.
Okay. Do you see how she got quiet there? She knows she has no other comeback. So she realizes, okay, while I still have him triggered, this is the perfect way to just go ahead and do something else that's going to take it to level 10. And I told y'all, she's segueing in to the bullshit. She was setting him up for the shit the whole damn time. As far as I'm concerned, this was a premeditated plot. This was never about having a legitimate discussion or debate on why. Because he gave her the talking points she should have used if that were the case, which she didn't. She kept asking the same shit over and over again. The whole thing was to get him pissed off. And the thing is, boy, let's keep going.
No, you shouldn't.
Tommy
That
funny as
person is
fuck,
saying-
though. It's really funny as fuck because, like,
You get an answer to a question.
You know what I would
What?
not even get it into that
You got an
subject.
answer to a question. You asked, why do I post what I
would get
post?
into
You
the
got an
subject so
answer.
bad, but I'm trying not to.
This is the most ridiculous shit.
She's going to get into the subject so bad, but she's trying not to. This was her plan all along. This was her plan all along. Look at how she's segueing into it. Now she's trying to make it say, I'm trying not to. No, this is what you were planning on doing. But let's keep going.
So many black people on his platform, but this nigga was trying to fuck a bad bitch like me. Like, stop playing. Like,
Do you hear this shit?
He flew me to him.
And your friend.
And my friend.
And
So
fuck
what
your
you're saying?
friend. Why the hell are
And
you
you
sitting
didn't
here
fuck
doing
me.
this?
And you didn't fuck
But
me.
why are you doing this?
Because
What
you
you saying?
niggas was trying to
I'm telling you,
like,
no,
niggas
no.
was trying to act right now in front of a camera.
How am I trying
Let's be honest.
to act?
Niggas
How am I
couldn't
trying to
even get
act?
the
We need the
pussy
race. How am I trying to act?
Let's be
How am I trying to act?
honest.
This is why black bitches get kicked out of clubs and shit.
I don't give a fuck because it's the truth.
You're
It's
acting
the truth.
stupid.
I'm not acting stupid.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
You were trying to fuck
Why
me.
you getting so
This is
mad?
stupid.
It's
Because
not
you're being dumb.
Once again, do you see what she's doing? Why are you getting so mad? So she's trying to emphasize on the fact that Tommy Sotomayor is getting triggered by this. Now, whether he wants to say, I wasn't getting upset, no, we all know that he was getting upset. And even if that weren't true, the reaction, she was getting a reaction out of you. And it wasn't the same as it was during the initial interaction. It's a completely different reaction, and that's all that needs to be stated. If I can get him upset, this is all it's a matter of at this point in time. Let me get him upset. Now, eventually it backfired on her when she didn't like what he said about her and decided to get up and assault him. But all the way up until now, she tries to keep her composure. She tries to keep the same pitch, the same tone, and make it seem as if, see, I'm just having a conversation. But let's keep going to the end.
You're being ignorant. I'm not being ignorant. It's the truth.